that mind management. So Prabhu, I think sharing is okay. I have a small PPT, but I will go ahead with this.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So
I will
I
make you as a host, Prabhuji, so that you can
That's
share.
okay, Prabhu. I think I just wanted to share one slide, but yeah, we'll go ahead with this only.
Okay, no.
So thank you, Prabhu, for inviting me. I thought to touch upon a very interesting topic and a very buzzing word in today's world, that is the mind management and how we can control our mind through japa. And we will first look that what our scriptures says about the mind control and how it impacts, how Lord Krishna describes the essence, the need of mind control in a bhakta's life, in a bhakta to progress in Krishna consciousness. So we'll cover it. I will touch a very little the material aspect as well, and then obviously our interest is in the spiritual aspect. So with that I'll start. ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण कृष्णाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निधि नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाशात देश श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण. So first, the very basic question that every living entity in this material world is searching for what? So if we ponder upon, then we'll come to the conclusion that every living entity, not only human and true human, is searching for happiness and bliss, right? So whatever activity we do or whatever activity a dog, a cat, whole day they do, they all search for happiness. They are looking for happiness. And in that endeavor, to achieve that happiness, they do a lot of endeavor on a wrong path, obviously, that we search happiness in the material world, which is not the right place to search. But the end goal is same. And why everyone is searching for happiness, that is also a question. So, I mean, answer is that is a question which in an interactive session we asked to the devotees why everyone is looking for happiness only, why no one is looking for normal thing or sadness, what is the main cause. So the main reason is because we are the part of Lord who is Sachidanand. So Sat, Chit and Anand. So that's where we always look for the Anand. So we naturally attracted towards Anand. Now we look for Anand and happiness, bliss, but eventually in this material world, what we get? The sufferings. Little bit Anand, which also don't satiate us. So today I will not cover the topic that how to get happiness and all. So there is a second part of this coin, which is the sufferings. We tend to avoid the sufferings, but as soon as we take birth in this material world, the threefold miseries are a must to have, right? They are a kind of free gift to any material body, right? So on that, if we ponder upon further, we will see there is three tapa mentioned in our scriptures, that is Adhyatmik, Adibhautik and Adidaivik. Out of that also, if we say Adhyatmik, so that is our own mind and body. If we just see, so first I will cover very briefly that what science says about mind and how we feel the sufferings through mind, right? So if we just ponder upon, we see that science says that brain is a thought generating machine. So in one day, our brain generates 60,000 thoughts. And we know all what kind of thought comes, right? While doing japa, while doing any work, we can think of that there is no control on the free flow thought comes, right? So 60,000 thoughts per day mind can generate. And if thoughts are not well, any person can get bewildered and disturbed. In today's world, mind management is a buzzing word, it is subject because people are in anxiety, depression, and lot of diseases also comes if you don't control your mind, right? That the science says. I have not yet come to our scriptures. The science says that BP, depression, heart attack, it can generate tension, stress, anxiety, right? All those are very common nowadays. So why? Because no one thinks to control the mind, no one thinks to purify their mind, and that is where the society is leading to that direction. Now, if we come to our scriptures, so our scriptures covers the material and spiritual aspect both. That is the holistic approach. So, if we see the Yoga Vasisht, it has described that there are panch kosas in our body. That is Annamaya Kosh, Pranamaya Kosh, Manomaya Kosh, Vijnanmaya Kosh, and Anandamaya Kosh. And it has clearly described that how diseases comes to our body. So it says that there are two type of diseases are there, that Adi and Vyadhi. So Vyadhi we know the physical diseases, Adi is the mental diseases. So, and it clearly defines that Adis and the Vyadhis, which are the physical diseases, there is a primary source of those physical diseases are the Adis. Means first it starts with the Manomaya kosh. What is that Manomaya kosh? That contains mind and ego. So if our mind is not well, then our scriptures at material aspect says that it leads to the diseases. So first it comes to Manomaya kosh, and then later stage it manifests to Pranamaya kosh and Annamaya kosh, which is the gross body and different organs of the body, you can say. So that is where we see that it is very common to feel, it is very easy to understand that if your mind is not in peace, you will feel the distress, right? So that we can feel by ourselves also, and same thing science is also proving, and our scriptures like Yoga Vasisht, Patanjali, Taittiriya Upanishad also describe this Annamaya Kosh, Pranamaya Kosh, Manomaya Kosh. So these are well covered in our scriptures from material aspect. Now we come to spiritual aspect, that why we get suffering. So the primary cause of suffering is the sin. So whatever the sin we do, due to the reaction of karma, we suffer. Now we need to think that what is the cause of sin, right? So if we go to Bhagavad Gita, so for what we discussed, that why do we suffer? There are material aspects, that if mind is not well, we are tend to get the physical or material sufferings. Now to the, if we come to the spiritual aspect, any suffering we are even this material entanglement is due to our sins. And what is the cause of sin? The cause of sin is, that is what the Arjuna asked to Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita itself. Atakena prayukto ayam papam charati purusha anichanapi varshneya baladiva niyojita. 3.36 Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna is asking ki, hey Vashne, what is the reason that unwillingly or looks like forcefully sometimes humans are we impelled to do the sins? We don't want to incur sins, but sometimes looks like forcefully it happens, or we do something, some activity which falls in the category of sin. Right? That is the question Arjuna asked. And so what Lord replied, that what is the cause of the sin? He said, Kamesha Krodesha Rajoguna Samudbhavaha Mahashano Mahapapma Viddhaye Namiha Vairinam. So Lord is clearly saying that Kamesha, the desire, the Prabhupada has described that lust. So lust, intense desire, intense material desire, that is the only cause which comes in the contact with the Rajoguna. And the Rajoguna, some Udbhava. So with the Rajoguna, it Udbhav, it produces. what? The calm. So when when we come in the contact with Rajoguna, then calm desire produces. And if that desire doesn't translate to fulfillment, then Krodha come. So so if we conclude this shloka, it clearly says that the unwilling sin or the sin is caused by our material desires, right? Which is coming in contact with a mode of passion. But if we come further, I think 3.40, that from where this desire arises, like in the body itself, there should be some place where this desire, which is the main cause of our suffering, because desire leads to the sin leads to the suffering, right? So same way we need to understand that where this desire comes. Indriyani मनोबुद्धिरस्याधिष्ठानमुच्यते एतैर्विमोहत्यत्येष ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम्. So Lord is clearly saying that the senses, the mind and the intelligence are the sitting place of this lust. So our senses, mind and intelligence, they are very critical for a sadhaka, for a spiritual seeker, because the material lust resides or sits at this place of our body. And it covers the real knowledge of a living entity. That is what 3.40 says. So now senses are in the control of mind. And that is where it leads to the prominence of the mind purification. If we want to control our material desires, and that leads to sin. So that is a chain reaction. So I was just reading the Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada book, The Path of Perfection. There also His Grace, Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that in material existence, one is subjected to the influence of the mind and the senses. And he's clearly saying, Prabhupada is clearly saying that in fact, the pure soul is entangled in the material world because of the mind's ego, which desires to lord it over material nature. So the cause of entanglement in the material nature is the mind's ego, which has a desire to lord or to rule over the material nature. So mind is so important that it has led us to come here in the material world. And here also, if we don't control, the suffering will continue. And Prabhupada is further saying in the path of perfection, therefore, the mind should be trained so that it will not be attracted by the glitter of the material nature. And in this way, the conditioned soul may be saved. So, I am describing all this to emphasize the importance of mind management, the mind control, which is required from the spiritual aspect. Material aspect we all understand because nowadays everyone talks about this. If further goes to Ramcharitmanas, so Tulsidas, there in Uttarkand, there is a great discussion on the mind itself. So Tulsidas is saying it as a manas rog. So he is saying that Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad and Matshar, these are 6 the mental disease. Declare कर दिया उन्होंने कि ये मन के रोग हैं. And what he is saying that सुनहु तात अब मानस रोगा जिनते दुख पावहि सब लोगा. So Kakbhusundi is asking, I think in Ramcharitmanas, a discussion is going between Kakbhusundi and Garun ji. So he is saying that now I am going to describe you the Manas Roga, the mental diseases, and due to which Jinate Dukh Pava sab log. Everyone is getting the suffering. What is those diseases? Kam, Krodha, Lobh, Moh, Mad and Matsya. And very great description is further there. So it is not till here, not the dukha comes. If we go beyond this, our scripture says that if we get rid of this life of birth and death, if we want to develop love for Krishna, the mind is the game changer. How? If we say Vishnu Purana says, very clearly says, Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoh bandhaya vishaya shaktam mukta nirvishayam smritam. Very clear. Man eva manushyanam. Mind is the only entity. Ev is the means he, only entity. Manushyanam karanam bandha moksha. So mind is the entity which is the cause of bandhan and moksha of manushya. So for every manushya, mind ही कारण है बंधन और मोक्ष का. How? बंधाय विषयाशक्तम. सो विषयों में आसक्त माइंड बंधन का कारण है. It creates bondage, which the mind which is entangled in the sense objects. Vishaya Shaktam. Asakt means attached. Vishaya means sense object. So Vishaya Shaktam, mind is the reason of bandhai, the bondage. And Mukte Nirvishayam Smritam. And the mind which is free from the sense object is the cause of Muktya. The detached mind is the cause of liberation. Very clearly, right? That's where Lord Krishna again describing Bhagavad Gita. Bandhuratmatmanastasya enatmay vatmanajita anatmanastu satrutve varte tatmaiva satruvat. That mind is your best friend and mind is your best enemy, depending who is controlling whom. If you are controlling the mind, mind becomes your best friend. That is the Bhagavad Gita 6.6. But if mind is controlling you, it is the greatest enemy. It is saying greatest enemy, Satruvat, right? So, with all this, we conclude that there is a great focus on the mind management in our shastras. Further, if we go to Bhakti Yoga, so there Lord Krishna is saying that Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yuddhacha may arpit manobuddhi. Again, he is emphasizing that always remember me. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara. And may arpit, you dedicate your mind. So Lord also want your mind. Mano buddhi. And how we can constantly think about Lord? If our mind is not controlled, we cannot think. Very simple. So the Lord is saying the condition is to come to me is सर्वेषु कालेषु माम अनुस्मरण. Always मेरा अनुस्मरण करो, मेरा चिंतन करो. मन मना भव मद्भक्तो मध्याजी माम नमस्कुरु. मन मना, मन में हमेशा मेरा मनन करो. Again, मन has come, right? And this shloka came 2 times. 9.34, 18.65. Very important. मन मना, अपने मन में मेरा मनन करो. So in Bhagavad Gita, a lot of places, Lord has emphasized that mind is the entity which must be attached to the Lord, and that is where we. So शरीर से आप क्या कर रहे हैं इससे ज्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. अगर मन शुद्ध नहीं है तो, क्योंकि भगवान मन के भाव को ही नोट करते हैं, एंड दैट इज वेयर द ग्रेट इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ माइंड कंट्रोल. Now, how to control mind? So now I have just established the need to control the mind, the need to purify the mind, right? From Kam, Krodha, Lobha, Moh, Mad and Matsarya, which leads through the material desires and which further leads to the different. If desire is there, if it fulfilled, then it leads to greed, one more desire. If desire did not fulfill, it leads to the Krodha, right? So that is very clearly described. So how to control mind? It is very difficult, because Arjuna itself asked, Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramati balavadridam. So Arjuna is asking that I can control the air, but how to control mind, O Krishna? You are saying that control mind, fix your mind on me, and then you will come to me. But how to control it? So what Lord is saying? Asansayam mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam. So Lord is saying that asansayam, yes Arjuna, it is very difficult. Asansayam, sansay nahi hai, mahabaho mano durnigrah. He is not saying that it is impossible. He is saying it is durnigrah. Durnigrah means tough, right? Not, he is saying that it is possible to control, but it is durnigrah, it is tough. He is not denying that we cannot control it. So there is a hope. Asansayam mahabaho mano durnigrah chalam. And then he is giving the formula. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha griyate. So he is saying that abhyas and vairagya, using these two weapons, we can control the mind. So generally we focus a lot on abhyas, but we should focus equally upon vairagya. Because if we don't have detachment from this material world, if we don't develop the detachment from the material world, what will happen? The attachment leads to what? That becomes again the answer. If we have any attachment to anything, what is the result of that? So in Bhagavad Gita, Lord again describing this. Dhyayato vishyan punsa sangaste supajayate sangat sanjayate kama kamat krodha vijayate. So I am emphasizing on the detachment, because if we have attachment to this material world, any kind of attachment, even with family, friends, whatever, job, salary, and your man, apaman, jay, parajay, all this, any kind of material attachment will lead to, if we go to this shloka, dhyayato vishyan punsa sangaste subjayate sangat. So if attachment, dhyayate, if dhyayato vishyan punsa sangaste, sang means attachment, sangaste subjayate. So if we do dhyana, constant thinking of anything, attachment develops. So, and dhyayato vishyan punsa sangaste subjayate sangat sanjayate kama. Once attachment comes, sangat means, sang means attachment comes, sanjayate kama, it develops the calm, it develops the desires. So any attachment, if you develop with anything, the next stage is desire. Let's say if we develop with our kids, then we develop desire that okay, my kids should do this, my kids should do that. So that is the proven formula and given in Bhagavad Gita. Any type of attachment leads to the desire. If we have attachment to the Lord, then we will have desire to reach the Lord. If we have attachment to the material world, it will lead, certainly it will lead to desire, and further the same process. Desire will lead to sin, sin will lead to suffering again. So that's where Lord is saying that abhyas and vairagya both are required to control the mind. Only abhyas will not help. Only vairagya will also may not help. Right? So because it is tough. So now how chanting is helping, right? So I will cover two aspects. Prabhuji, time is 7:50 only, right? So I will try to cover. So there are two aspects we should understand it. Our main goal to understand the spiritual aspect, but the some material aspect or science aspect also when we do chanting. So now we come that conclusion that through abhyas and vairagya we can control our mind, and then that control mind we can focus on the Lord, and that is where we can do manvana bhav bhakto or 24/7 remembrance of the Lord. Otherwise it is not possible, right? So if we come to the science, so they say that so the brain has a prefrontal cortex muscles, and these muscles involves in the thinking or decision making or the flickering of the mind. So when we do our japa, so I would say japa is the only way, or is the way, the master way, which Prabhupada has provided us, which is which is the sure short way to control the mind, and which will lead us to a spiritual journey. It will lead to a progression in spiritual journey. So prefrontal cortex muscle. So when we go to gym, what happens if we do again and again practice, our muscles get strong. So similarly, when we do the japa, so japa should be very focused to get the output from it. Otherwise, if you go to gym and you don't do anything, your muscles will not get strong. Similarly, when we do the japa, let's say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Your mind goes to some material object or some thought, maybe in the office, in the playground, in the shop, any type of thought can come. What we need to do, we need to cut that thought and we need to pull it back. So what is happening in this process? The prefrontal cortex muscle is getting exercised. We are pulling it back, we are pulling our thought back and then focusing on the name. So we are doing the muscle exercise of the brain, and that is where that muscle is going to get stronger, and we will get the better control our thoughts. Our thoughts should not be free flowing. That if we enter in one thought, it will lead to another chain reaction of thought, and then chanting has gone. Or in general life also, if we need to switch to multiple tasks, like every one of us having different roles. If we think home in office at office about home, so we cannot handle multiple stuffs together. But if we control our thoughts, then whatever we are doing at that time, we will focus on that and then we'll move to next. So the switching of the thought of mind should be according to our will, not according to the mind's will. That is where the mind control plays the role. So if we do the chanting properly and just focusing on the name and again pulling back, cutting the thought, generally what happens, we go free flow with the thoughts and come after some time. But we should be very attentive, very attentive to not lead the thought to a chain reaction again. Any thought comes, which will come, because असंशय महाभाव अस बहुत कठिन है माइंड को कंट्रोल करना. प्रैक्टिस has to be there. We have to pull it back. With that, the prefrontal cortex muscles get stronger and we will have better control. And what is the spiritual aspect? So this is the material aspect, that muscle exercise is happening. So because the mind is the energy of the Lord, Bhumi, Rapo, Anulo, Vayu, Kham, Manu, Buddhi, Revacha, Ahankara, Ityam, Me, Bhinna, Prakriti, Rashtudha. So Lord is saying that mind, intelligence, these are my energy and we cannot control it without the mercy of the Lord. Because in the material world, what happens? Dhyan means what? Any type of muscle exercise is dhyan. What they do? They do, okay, you focus on yourself, you focus on some bird, you focus on some tree, right? So they will get partial benefit of muscle exercise, the material aspect of it. But dhyana always must be on Vishnu or the Lord or the pure or purest object. That is what the scripture says. But nowadays that essence is missing. Dhyana means any focus of mind is dhyana. You will get some benefit out of that, but the whole holistic benefit will come if we do dhyana of Lord, the name of the Lord, then only. That I am going to cover in short. Why? So, because the mind itself is the energy of the Lord, external energy of the Lord, it is very tough to overcome the energy of the Lord. It is as strong as the Lord. Without His mercy, we cannot control it. Even though the muscle exercise will give some benefit, but what about the anarthas? What about the kam, krodha, lobha, moha, madmas? That will not go if we think about the brick, about the trees, and that type of dhyana. What like nowadays many gurus are talking about, right? So dhyana must be on Lord Krishna only. Why? Because with His mercy, because He is the pure entity, and if the mind comes in touch of the purest entity, it becomes pure, right? He is Chintamani, He is the Paras. It touches the mind, His name touches the mind, mind gets pure. And this muscle anyway is the byproduct of that. Muscle exercise anyway is happening. And that is where Tulsidas again is saying, Ram kripa nasai sab roga, jo yahi bhati banay sanjoga. So he's saying कि without the kripa of Lord Ram, ये रोग जो है मानस रोग ये जाएंगे नहीं. And that is where we must focus on the chanting of the name very attentively to get his bliss, to get his blessings, so that our mind gets in our control and equally purified. Equally purified. Now, again, it comes, Prabhuji, 2 minutes I have. I'm done almost.
Yes, Prabhuji, sure.
Okay. So just 2 minutes more. So now we say that we should do a dhyana of Lord, and then we say the chanting. So there is no difference between the Naam and the roop of the Lord. Different scripture says that Naam Chintamani Krishnash Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Suddho Nitya Mukto Vinnatwana Nam Abhinatva Nam Namino, right? So that is Padma Purana, Chaitanya Charitamrita, both places it is mentioned that Harinam is Purna, it is a Suddha, it is Nitya Mukt. नाम एंड नामी अभिनत्व नाम नामिनो नाम और नामी में कोई अंतर नहीं है. So नाम is as pure as the Lord himself. Or especially in Kali Yuga, we know Kala Utat Hari Kirtanat, right? Many shlokas we know that in Kali Yuga, Naam is the way to attach with the Lord. So Naam is as pure as the Lord, Naam is as merciful as the Lord, and that is where we do the chanting on name because we are in Kali Yuga. In Ramcharitmanas, Tulsidas goes again, I mean, beyond this also. He is saying, Brahma Ram te naam bada, Baradayak Baradani. He is saying कि राम से बड़ा राम का नाम है. The name of the Ram is bigger, even bigger than, because he is so merciful that Lord Rama has given mercy only to Ahilya, but the name is giving mercy to crores of bhaktas and everyone, right? So different scriptures says that the taking the name and especially in this Kali Yuga is even better or equally potent than remembering the Lord or Lord himself, right? The name Chinta, dono same ही. Now that is where we do, and Prabhupada perfectly, we bow down to Srila Prabhupada that he has given this 16 syllable mantras, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And many scriptures says that this Soda Saitani Namani, so this 16 syllables name, this mantra, is the way to go forward and is the only way to achieve the Lord's mercy. The condition is that it should be full attention and full faith that there is no difference in name and Lord himself, and that is what our mood should be. And in this way we can conquer this mind, and then we can dedicate this mind. The Lord want what? मैं अर्पित मनो बुद्धि, मेरे को अर्पित करो अपना मन और बुद्धि, and we will be able to give this mind to the Lord and he will bless us. So with that I will stop, Prabhu. If any question I can take. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Such a wonderful talk, actually. From 7:10 to 7:55, you are completely glued with your talk, actually. So it's so nectarian, every word, actually. Yeah, wonderful, Prabhuji. Actually, we covered many aspects, actually, scientific aspects and the spiritual aspects as well, like, how much power we have, how many thoughts flow through our brain, 60,000 thoughts. I'm not aware of it. Yeah, really good, Prabhuji. And you clearly highlighted what is the cause of suffering, and then why we are unable to control the mind. And you also highlighted that yes, it's nothing but the energies of the Lord, actually. And one interesting thing I liked is you mentioned that yogis and some other people, they may be focusing on some object, may not be God, trees. Yes, they may get some benefit, but ultimate source is from where everything is coming from, right? It's a supreme Lord. But if you focus on Vishnu, right, then definitely we will reach our ultimate goal. We will be able to control the mind. That's a very interesting point, actually. I liked it. And you also mentioned that a lot of scriptural references, Prabhuji, Vishnu Puran, Bhagavad Gita,
Right.
Tulsi Das, wonderful Prabhuji. Yeah, many new points I learned in this session.
Thank you.
Definitely helps us, Prabhuji, to improve our chanting. Now the floor is open for questions. If anyone has, they can unmute and they can ask, actually. Or they can paste their questions in the chat window. Yeah. So despite your busy schedules, thanks Prabhuji for accepting this request. Actually, I know how demanding the workload is in Qualcomm. So still you are able to manage your time and give your time for us. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. So
Hare
Kapil
Krishna,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
No problem. Okay, I'll go first, Prabhuji. So, very wonderful lecture by Mrityunjay Prabhuji. He's very close to my heart as well, and we meet always every Sunday along with Rajesh Prabhu and all. So wonderful to hear you for the first time, I would believe. At least I'm hearing you for the first time on this assembly here. So thank you, Prabhu, for enlightening us. And as my question to you is more a realization. So as Rajesh Prabhu introduced you that you are the one person to go for every Janmashtami for the chappal stand and other menial services. How did you develop that habit, or how to develop that kind of a, Tonodapi Sunachina feeling? What all we should do, Prabhu, because it is very difficult, sometimes at least, we would like to, take some other services, but not this. So how did you develop that, and how should we endeavor to, develop all these feelings, Prabhu?
So Prabhu, what Prabhupada says that again the Path of Perfection book itself says that what mean by bhakti. So bhakti means acting spiritually in accordance with the desire of Rishikesh. So when we don't have when we don't work according to our desire and we work only according to Krishna's desire, we surrender our like and dislike everything. Surrendering mind and intelligence means what, Prabhu? Surrendering all the emotions to the Krishna. So if we surrender our mind to Krishna, then there is no liking and disliking in the life. It should be. Actual condition is that. So any work is equally good if Krishna likes it, right? So that is where if our senses should be serving what the Krishna's wish is. So when I do that service, I feel that I may not be liking it because of the impurity of the mind, but Krishna will like it. And if I have to surrender my mind, I don't care my liking and disliking. And that is where I don't care about my comfort and discomfort. वो बाहर है कोई बात नहीं. That is where it gives that doing any job for Krishna. That is equally important and equally restful also. So that is always I think if we see the essence of prema which gopis shows is what, that मटेरियल वर्ल्ड में तो प्रेम यही होता है कि जो आपको पसंद है वो मिल जाए तो वो प्रेम है, बट उल्टा होना चाहिए, जो भगवान को पसंद है वो देना है, वो हमें पसंद हो या ना हो, राइट? एंड यही थॉट आता है प्रभु. सो दैट्स वेयर आई एम ओके विद ऑल दी सर्विसेज, क्योंकि भगवान भी बोलते हैं कि
very difficult to cultivate this, Prabhu. I personally can tell you I am very difficult to cultivate all this, what you're telling. It's a very distant journey for all of us, but huh?
राइट, दैट इज अगेन
Thank you,
फ्रॉम
Prabhu.
द, देखिए सुख दुख की अनुभूति
हाँ.
कैसे होती है, माइंड से ही होती है, राइट?
हाँ.
जैसे सुख दुख की अनुभूति है और राग द्वेष, ये सारी चीजें माइंड से ही होती हैं. अगर हम माइंड को ही बोल दें कि भाई अपना कुछ है ही नहीं, अपना जो भी आ रहा है वो फर्जी ही है, हम तो जो भगवान बोल रहे हैं वही करना है, करते करते ही ट्रेन करेंगे, ऐसे तो है. तो
Yes,
भगवान कई जगह बोले भी हैं, सुख दुखे समय कृत्वा लाभा लाभो जया जयो, है ना? तो लाभ हानि गर्मी सर्दी सुख दुख सब में समान रहने की कोशिश है. तो दैट इज वेयर चप्पल स्टैंड. आई अंडरस्टैंड व्हेन वी गो विद चप्पल वी डोंट लाइक, बट वही ये सारी चीजें याद करके आई यूज्ड टू लाइक इट. So I don't have any.
I think association will help. We would like to associate with you more and try to, give company. I think that is another way of uplifting the downfallen souls like me, where I don't have individually my strength to take up these things, but then with your association, with your support and the gyan that you're giving right now, I think our mind can be tamed or tuned to accept the harsh realities that this is the service. Actually, this is the actual service we can offer to our congregation. Thank you, Prabhu. I'll not take much of your time. Thank you, Prabhu.
Any other questions? Okay, meanwhile.
This is Raju. Thank you so much for your session. It's really wonderful how mind manages. Many of the time, mind always controls me, but the way we should control mind, you gave a lot of tips. It's very good. It's though it is a common question. Many times I'm in the trap of the attachment. So though I'm started quite recently started with chanting of Maha Mantra morning and at night before heading to bed, but still, are there any tips which I go from the attachment? Say, for instance, but it could be properties, it could be some materialistic world. So day in and day out, I'm fall in the trap of it one another with. Any other tips apart from chanting of Maha Mantra?
Yes, Prabhu. So, I mean, that can be another topic. Maybe someday we can discuss. But Bhagavad Gita, I think when I started reading Bhagavad Gita, I got wonder that everything is here. Why we were not knowing it. So the sloka I mentioned, Prabhu, I'll give you a very concrete tip. ध्यायतो विषयान पुंसः संगस्ते सुपजायते संगात संजायते कामा कामात क्रोधा विजायते. So Lord is saying that ध्यायतो विषयान पुंसः, when we do dhyan of sense objects, right? So dhyayato vishyan, vishaya means sense object, punsha sangaste subjayate. So constant contemplation of anything will lead to you attachment to that thing. Sangaste subjayate, and further sangat. So that attachment leads to the desire, and that desire leads to the krodha or lust, krodha or lobh, right? So the desire is the janani of krodha and lobh. अगर पूरा हुआ तो एक और डिजायर और लोभ, और अगर नहीं पूरा हुआ तो क्रोध. But the main point is here the first stage. The first stage is ध्यायतो विषयान पुंसः. जब हम किसी चीज का कांस्टेंट ध्यान करते हैं या ज्यादा ध्यान करते हैं, more and more if we think about something, we are bound to get attachment with that. So you think less about your property, you think less about this material world, you think more about Krishna, you will attach to the Krishna. Iska simple example in your real life you can see, Prabhu. Let's say you have your child, you have developed attachment to your child because you think about them. You don't have any attachment to my child because you don't know about him. You have never thought of him, right? So जैसे अगर हम बड़े हो गए हैं, we have less attachment to our parents. Let's say parents are not living with us or parents are old. So that is a natural arrangement that we think more about our future family or the kids rather than the parents. आप याद कीजिए कि in childhood we used to attach so much with the parents, but now we used to attach more toward the children and less. And then you map it to back. That do you think more in whole your 24/7 or 24 hours, do you think more about your parents or you think more about your children? You will find that your bandwidth of the mind again is more consumed in thinking about your children rather compared to your parents, and that is where you develop the greater attachment to this. So that is the simple formula, Prabhu. ध्यायतो विषयान पुंसः संगस्ते सुजाते. जिस चीज का आप ध्यान करेंगे उससे अटैचमेंट हो जाएगा. कॉलेज में भी क्या होता था, इट्स नॉट अ एप्ट एग्जांपल, बट इफ यू जैसे नॉर्मल मटेरियल वर्ल्ड में क्या होता है, आप किसी कि जो मटेरियल वर्ल्ड में लोग करते हैं किसी पर्टिकुलर हीरो और सम एक्टर, दे थिंक मोर एंड दे डेवलप अटैचमेंट, but we don't have any attachment to that actor or any kind of actor, right? Because we don't think about them. So that is where our thought should be. इसीलिए हमको कुछ भी, इसीलिए मना करते हैं कि हमको कुछ भी नहीं देखना चाहिए. Like everything on YouTube you are going and you are watching, that is going inside your thoughts, and that will provoke some type of attachment, right, Prabhu? So that is
Yes.
why, let's say if you know someone, he dies, you will get some dukha or some types of grief, because there is some attachment, known or unknown, some kind of attachment, because you have seen them, you know it. But if you don't know anyone, every day, every minute, so many people are dying, right? We are talking here, we don't know how many people died in the whole world. Did we get any suffering? No, because we don't have any attachment to them. And that is right, that leads to multiple things, so that can be discussed. So that is the only cause, Prabhu, to choose your thoughts very clearly. And that is where Lord is saying, Man mana bhav mat bhakto, always think about me. So if we always think about Lord, we don't get the attachment to anything. वही फॉर्मूला है. फॉर्मूला एक ही ऐसे ऐसे अप्लाई करना है. So Lord Krishna is saying so many shlokas, right? सततम कीर्तयन्तो माम, सतत कीर्तन मेरा करो. Manmana, so Manmana, we already, always my remembrance, right? And there are many other shlokas, right? Where Lord is saying that continuous chintan mera karo. And then your mind will be pure and you will be happy because you are thinking always about the Krishna. So that is the only solution, Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you so much, bro.
Wonderful, Prabhuji. So there are comments also in the chat window. Ramesh Gupta Prabhu is telling Hare Krishna Prabhuji Dandat Pranam. Very good to listen and understand the key to mind management with reference to chanting Hare Krishna. Shobha Mataji told Dandavat Prabhuji for wonderful class, very practical. I also felt it's very, very practical. Sudha Kamar Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for session, Prabhu. I liked the point about mind control, starting from Abhyasa and Vairagya. Harikatha and Ekadasi Vrat can be said to cover these two aspects, Prabhu? This is a question, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Right, Mataji. So we do sense control in the Ekadashi Vrat. That is a kind of vairagya. So see, all the, अगर माइंड हमारा प्योर हो जाए तो हम तुरंत भगवान के पास चले जाएंगे, राइट? दैट इज द प्री क्वालिफिकेशन टू गो इन द वैकुंठा, that there is no kuntha, so kunthit person should not go there, right? So if we have काम क्रोध लोभ मोह मन मात्सर्य, we are not qualified to go. And whole process of spiritual journey is to purify the mind. If mind is purified and detached with this material world, we are qualified to stay in Vaikuntha. So that is where all these aspects come, Ekadashi, Vrata and all, because that controls the senses, that controls the mind. So yes, Mataji. These are the actual philosophy behind the Vrata and other steps, so that we control our mind. What mean by, if we do the fasting and Vike Upavas, what mean by the Upavas? There are two aspects of this. One is we are controlling the senses, and also we are controlling, because sense control always happens to the mind, because mind desires and the senses fulfills. So your mind says that, okay, let's go eat something, but that time you again cut that thought. So that is again the abhyas is happening there, right? And upavas means what? You are near to the God. Upavas doesn't mean that only fasting. The main objective is that you don't have anything to do, you don't have to cook and all those stuffs. Now that's the time is got saved. Now you spend that time to upavas, to was near the Lord. Upavas means go, was means rehna, live towards the Lord. So you spend more time towards the God. That is what that day, whenever you are doing upavas. So it actually serves both the purpose. Control the mind and think more about the Lord. That is how we should take all the upavasas and vratas. So that is the same philosophy, Mataji. It is fulfilling and helping the same path.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Thanks for your nectar and tech once again. Yeah. मृत्युंजय प्रभु जी की, भक्त मृत्युंजय प्रभु जी की जय।
जय
जय
थैंक यू प्रभु जी, हरे कृष्णा, दंडवत
Thank you.
प्रणाम।
धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Prabhuji.
दंडवत
Hare
प्रणाम।
Krishna. Pranam.
Thank you.